Hey guys, in this video I'm gonna talk about my final review for Anthem. I already had an early impressions video out there, which I will link down in the description below, but I want to talk about it just a little bit more. I'm gonna keep this very short because I think most has already been said in that, but I still wanted to get my final opinion out there. Let's go! Anthem, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it because it has a lot of potential, kind of still does, because its combat is amazing, the gunplay is fantastic, the verticality that the flying adds is beautiful, the freedom that the flying gives in this beautiful world is amazing, the cinematics that deliver the storyline are awesome. There's just way too much wasted potential in this game. The storyline is good, but not great. It's not memorable like any other of the Bioware games like Dragon Age or Mass Effect, where they're famous for their storylines. In this game, it's not memorable. Now, I use this term a lot in storyline reviews, but I think that's the most important thing you can actually reach as a director. I'm sure a lot of you know the storyline for the Bloody Baron in The Witcher 3, for example, by heart. So, I think they should have gone for something like that, but they failed at that too. The combat is great, the javelins with the combat suits that you actually use are awesome, but not all of them are evened out very well, so I don't think that's a big issue, but I'm sure they're gonna fix that over time. I feel like the Storm is a little bit too strong because of all the combos, abilities that it has, and always hovering above, while the Interceptor is a melee character that will be constantly swarmed and easily stepped on by the giant bug boss in the very first Stronghold. Now, the Strongholds are my favorite part because they are Anthem at its finest. It's a beautiful dungeon, well, the three of them, and they're all three are perfect. I have no points for improvement there, except for the objectives. Most objectives are just always kill the next room or defend the objective. Now, with all the great combat, even that gets a little bit bland after a while, but even then still, the bosses are awesome, the environments are cool, so why not? But the biggest problem with the Strongholds is they are the only content at endgame. You have multiple difficulty ranks, easy, normal, hard, and then the 3 Grandmaster ranks, each one getting tougher as you go, but they only get tougher because the mobs or monsters or whatever you want to call them, they each have more health, they hit harder, but they gain no new abilities, which is a waste because it kind of destroys the replayability possibilities. But the core problem is and will always be with the instancing. Now, if you play, for example, World of Warcraft, they have an instanced world. That means if you haven't done the quest that burns down the forest, for example, then you will see in this zone still a beautiful green forest. And if you have done the quest, you will see the ashing remains. Now, I like that because it still has an open world, but the world still doesn't have any effect. Now, in Anthem, it's very easy. You go to your suit, you pick which mission you want to do, and you go do that mission. And the moment that mission is done, you get pulled back immediately back to your base camp. Now, imagine Red Dead Redemption, for example, which is a highly acclaimed game that pretty much everyone likes. We've done that. You do a mission and you immediately get pulled back to your base camp. Would you like that? I'm pretty sure you wouldn't. The ratings probably wouldn't have been as high as they are right now. Now, the same goes for mission areas. If you go too far from your mission area, you get pulled back. If you go too far from your allies, you also get pulled back. It's kind of like constant being I don't know, hung up on a bungee cord or something, I'm not sure. Then you can also do Freeplay, which is, well, it gives you actually the possibility to explore the entire world of Bastion. That's the name of the Anthem world. Now, it's beautiful, you can look around, there are a few animals, there are a few events going on, so there's this faction, and there's a bad guy, you can kill the faction, you can kill the bad guy, and that's all awesome, but they are far too few, far too much apart actually, so you won't be doing that as much as you want. You can also only do free play as matchmaking, so for some reason you always have to group up. Now, in my experience if you match up with randoms. Actually, each goes their own way, so there's nothing much to that. So I just see a lot of bad decisions on Bioware's and Electronic Arts their part. There are no microtransactions that are really mentionable. You can get some cosmetic upgrades in the featured store for either real cash, euros or dollars, or you can buy these with the coins that you easily make in the game. So there is no problem on that front. I just felt like I should mention that because it's an Electronic Arts game after all. But in general, I am not really sure where Anthem is going, because with the new bugs that there are quite a few small bugs like loading screens that, there are loading screens going on, but there's also, you can see the UI behind it, which is really weird. You can see despairing mobs constantly. For example, I was flying around in Freeplay, my engines get overheated, I'm crashing down towards the ground, and I see this group of scorpions running around. Now, I instantly had this like, oh my god, with my bad luck, of course I land in a group of scorpions. But for some reason they disappeared. It probably saved my life, but it also ruined my funny story in which I crash land in a group of scorpions with my bad luck. I have also read on Reddit, I will leave a link to the post below, where you can read that a lot of players have mentioned hard crashes on PlayStation. Now, I have had a few myself. Well, they're surely not ideal, but I can also report that there are apparently cases where the entire PlayStation refuses to boot again after a hard crash, so that Anthem has actually permanently destroyed their PlayStation. So, if I want to give you my piece of advice, it would be stay away with a 10-foot radius. I really think that this game has a lot of potential and they can still solve a lot of things with constant updates, with the year pass, or the free season downloadable content that's gonna come out. But at this point, I cannot advise anyone to buy this game because it's fun at the start because you're still discovering stuff. That's in case your PlayStation doesn't melt. But I would not advise anyone to pay any more than 30 euros on this game, maybe? It kind of depends. Let's be honest, Destiny and The Division also didn't have the best kind of launch, and they are both also looter shooters just like Anthem, and they kind of picked themselves up pretty well actually. So it may still happen with Anthem, but if you want my piece of advice, it would be just to stay clear of this game for now, wait a month or two or maybe even more, and when the prices go down, and which they're surely gonna do, then look around, see if you like the new updates coming on with the patch notes that have happened, and just see if you actually want to spend your money on this. But right now, I can't advise you with a sound mind. So those are my opinions. They're my opinions and my opinions alone. If you feel free to discuss them further with me, I will happily read the comments down below. And if you like this content, please consider subscribe. It would help me out a lot in my attempt to reach 100 subscribers. Alright guys, thanks and see ya!